Welcome back to Kurokami-sama's Beats. Check our email. We've done that. The river. That's Sagami Bay. I read the place described in the email report. The person who contacted us was a 22-year-old man by the name of Hanamura, who stands out from the crowd with his impressive dreadlocks. He begins to tell his story. Okay, so there's this thing that happened to my friend of mine. Let's call him Kay. My buddy Kay is walking down the street in broad daylight, right? Then suddenly it gets all foggy. And out of nowhere comes this old lady. She smiled and asked, "Want some candy?" But we all know you don't take candy from strangers, right? So Kay shakes his head and tells the old lady he doesn't want any. So far so good, just friendly old lady trying to be nice. But then she goes up and vanishes into thin air. And after all that, my buddy got really sick and had to stay home for a while. That's when it hit me. He met Madam Candy, the ghost who asks if you want candy and then reaps your soul. I know a thing or two about paranormal stuff, you see. It makes me shudder to think what would have happened if old Kay had said he wanted some of the hag's candy. But this is actually where the story gets really crazy. When he heard the story, my friend T decided to go look into this Madam Candy himself. Said that if she was real, he'd go take her out. He got nerves of steel, that T. Fists of steel, too. Oh god, did he punch the ghost? He does Kempo, But ever since that day, he just kind of vanished. Straight up went missing. I can't imagine T going down in a brawl, though. I mean, the guy does Kempo, So I'm thinking maybe he met old Madam Candy and said he wanted some of her sweets. And that's all he has to say. I part ways with Hanamura after thanking him for his time. Hanamura told me exactly when and where his friend met Madam Candy.
アメばあさんか。そこそこ有名な怪異と言えるな。
She's that famous?
そりゃ花子さんとかに比べたら落ちるけどな。ちなみに俺が知っているアメばあさんも同じパターンだ。問いかけに対して返事をすると口から魂を抜かれる。ばあさんが出てきて質問された後は喋る行為は厳禁だ。どこまでが返事をしたとなるか判定が曖昧だし、呼吸も鼻でしろ。わずかに口を開くのも危険だ。
Understood. I'll keep that in mind. Let's go. When the time is right, a heavy fog descends out of nowhere. I hear the sounds of light footsteps. It's an old lady. She really does exist. She asks her question in a surprisingly kind voice. You wouldn't think she was actually a paranormal entity. Want some candy? Shizume and I exchange looks. We can't answer Madam Candy no matter what happens. In fact, we can't even open our mouths. There, I gave you some candy. The old woman smiles. I notice she forced some candy into my hand. But when I take a closer look, I realize it's not candy at all. Yep, human eyeball. I almost yelp in shock, but I force my mouth shut, and so does Shizume. Can't underestimate this old lady. I need to take her down as quickly as possible. Alright, how do I deal with her? While I'm busy thinking, the old woman just up from vanished. I focus my energies into Kurokami-sama's arm and throw a silent punch at the old woman. Her expression turns furious when I impale her with my arm. Soon enough, her entire body disperses. Win it!
見事だとおまる。実にスムーズに敵を倒せたな。
I couldn't have done it without your help, though. Defeated Madam Candy. So we need to take a day to relax. Let's see. It is called Kurosama. Kurokoki. It is a feast, so I'm nibbling. Let's relax. I rest up in my room. Well, it's not great, but that's not terrible. It's me Shizume. Let's try there. There are so many of them. I keep observing the spirits. Spending time around spirits has made me more accustomed to dealing with the paranormal. The courage I've built up today will no doubt help me when it's time to face Kurosama head on. It may be a small step, but it's a start. Ooh. Okay. So we got that one. Has me pretty exhausted. I am eating monster bits. River. Don't know if this will work. We might have done everything we can. Okay, dealt with the monsters in this area. Try asking. Okay, so there's no leads here. Main Street, maybe? These monster bits are delicious. After searching the area and asking the locals, I run to a little girl named Nakagami, out by herself. She's a 5th grader in elementary school. My friend got kidnapped by a monster. They say she's missing, but I'm going to find her. Could you fill me in on the details? You'll hear me out? Thank you so much. Well, I am a hunter of the paranormal. The Vegan Club. I probably should have sent you an email. You know, I did actually share my story with some other on some other sites, but everyone said I was lying. My friend Ray got kidnapped by the Boogeyman. Oh, the Boogeyman? It's a pretty famous monster in the West. I think, like, kidnaps bad kids or something. I don't know much about it.
日本でもブギーマンの類似怪はいる。子供を隠す隠し神と言われる怪異たちだ。しかし今回はまさかのご本人が相手か。
So he seems scared. Ray and I love ghost stories. We even collect horror manga. We're big fans of The Back Alley by Ito Sensei. Ray and I would even play all kinds of paranormal games together, mess around with the Ouija boards and stuff like that. One day, Ray came to me and said a famous boogeyman finally started showing up in Japan.
I guess people on the internet were talking about it, seeing him, and she thought maybe we'd end up seeing him too. I told her it might not be that easy. After all, the boogeyman only comes for bad, naughty kids. But Ray told me she's on bad terms with her mom and dad, so she could actually meet the boogeyman. Then one day, Ray came over to spend the night at my place after a huge argument with her parents. My bed is small, but the two of us managed to squeeze into it. We were just chatting and stuff when suddenly the bed started shaking and wobbling. We thought it was an earthquake, but we were wrong. There was something under the bed, and then it came crawling out.
So that's the boogeyman.
We saw the boogeyman, a monster with a bag. I was so scared I screamed my lungs out. But Ray couldn't. The boogeyman had grabbed her by the head and lifted her up. She tried to break free, but he wouldn't let go. And then he shoved Ray right into his bag. Get the fuck in there! I still remember how she cried for help when the thing took her. She was begging and screaming. But I was trembling. I couldn't move an inch. By the time my parents rushed into the room, the boogeyman had already gone into the shadows, taking poor Ray with him. The police didn't believe me at all. Their story is that Ray ran away from home after an argument with her parents. But it was the boogeyman. He's here in Japan. I'm begging you, please bring Ray back to me.
I responded with a firm nod. I ended up doing a bit of investigations on the net. Apparently, over 1,000 children under the age of 9 go missing per year. The implications make my blood run cold. Man, that boogeyman is working his ass off. The boogeyman probably already kidnapped a lot of kids, and Ray's case is just the latest in his long line of atrocities. The stories say that boogeyman hides in the dark corners of children's rooms, inside drawers within closets, or underneath beds. If I'm to fight this, I'll have to do it in Nakagami's room. So we'll need a plan. Unless we feel like explaining to the cops what we're doing, breaking into a grade schooler's bedroom in the middle of the night. I decide to ask Nakagami to help make sure we don't bump into her parents. The next time I come here, it'll be to take down the boogeyman. I go back to my room to get some rest. So I'm gonna switch out to Mitsuka for this. Because I feel like this is gonna be a big fight. I once again meet up with Nakagami, who shows me into her room.
We've been treating my parents like garbage all day, so there's a good I've been treating my parents like garbage all day, so there's a good chance the boogeyman will come for me.
I know we need to lure him out, but still, I'm sorry you had to do that.
Don't be. My mom and dad didn't believe me when I told them about the boogeyman, and it made me really sad. At least I get to give them a little payback.
I took a quick peek under the bed, but the coast is clear. It's getting late, so I decide to hide in the closet. As for Nakagami, I have her lie down in bed. It's almost time. The boogeyman should appear any second now. Just as I'm thinking about it, the little girl's bed begins to shake. And the dark figure crawls out from underneath. I burst out of the closet and stand between Nakagami and the creature.
出たわね、変質者妖怪。覚悟しなさい。ズタ袋にしてやる。
Mitsuka reveals herself at the same time. Finding itself surrounded by grown adults, the boogeyman melts back into the darkness it came from. What? Wasn't expecting it to flee right away. I guess since it goes after children, seeing a bunch of grown adults killed its motivation. The boogeyman has vanished without a trace. No matter how hard we try to lure it out the second, the boogeyman never shows up in Nakagami's room again. Let's do it with him.
まさかこうして会えるとはな、ブギーマン。
Shizumi reveals himself as well. Ooh. Okay, so no matter what we do, for Nakagami, she would later become a hunter of the paranormal herself, dedicating her life to defeating the boogeyman in hopes of finding her long-lost friend. So that didn't work. So we did try with both of them. After searching the area and asking locals, "Are you lot familiar with monsters and the like?" The haggard-looking man addresses me. "Yes, I'm a hunter of the paranormal, actually." The Hagen Occult Club. "Oh, right. I've seen your website. Was actually thinking of sending something in. You're just in time. Please hear me out." He introduced himself as Takayama, a 27-year-old office worker. He seems pretty desperate. "I've only been married for 2 years and have no children. My wife and I enjoyed a happy life together. But then one day, after coming home from a business trip, I found her, Reiko, sleeping on the couch. Except Reiko, she wasn't breathing. Her body had gone cold, too. I couldn't find a pulse. I was at a loss of words. She wasn't sick or anything. I felt my heart sink into my stomach. I just stood there completely dumbfounded. But then I snapped out of it and was about to call an ambulance when suddenly..." "What's wrong, dear?" Reiko spoke to me. She had woken up. I was so relieved I burst into tears and hugged her as tightly as I could. Told her she nearly gave me a heart attack. The thing is, her body was still as cold as when I found her sleeping. It was the same exact day, and even now she's still icy cold. She has a strong appetite, a really strong appetite. I didn't really give it much thought at first, but later she began to crave food like an animal. And then one day I saw Reiko in the kitchen, snatching up a spider and stuffing it in her mouth. I feel like she's not my Reiko anymore. She still looks and sounds the same, but God, what am I supposed to do? "So, is your wife still at home?" Mr. Takayama nods. Please take us to her." It takes us about 10 minutes to reach Mr. Takayama's house on foot. Shizume comes along, speculating about possessions or doppelgangers. Mr. Takayama introduces me as an old friend he used to play with when he was little. We bumped into each other in town and he decided to invite me over, so his story goes. "Oh really? He never mentioned you before?" After hearing us out, Miss Reiko sounds a soft giggle. She's extremely unnaturally pale, so... What a delightful coincidence. More alarming is the fact that I can't actually hear any of her thoughts. I recall what Kurokami-sama told me. Her ear only picks up human thoughts, in other words. We're dealing with the paranormal, no doubt about it. I have to take her down, is that alright? Wait a second. I know I asked you for help, but does that mean Reiko is gone? Yes, she probably died of a heart attack or something similar, and then a monster took over her body. So if you get rid of it, there won't be anything left of Reiko or the corpse? Probably yes. I can't let you do that. She speaks with Reiko's voice. I just don't know what I'd do without her. Mr. Takayama, listen. If we leave her like this, you're going to be in danger too. Honestly, if it's my Reiko, I wouldn't even mind her killing me. Shizumi doesn't know what to say either. I realize I asked for your help to begin with, but there isn't much more I can say. I give Takayama my contact info just in case. So what happens? Feeling listless and discouraged. Okay, so what if we go back? That's not where Natsuke enthusiastically notes the situation sounds like something out of a horror movie. Okay. Probably yes.
これは私たちが何とかすべきなんだろうけど、でも高山さんの気持ちも大切よね。
He's hopelessly in love, I get it. If something like this happened to Domaru, I'd probably feel the same way. I realize I asked for your help. Okay, so that's the same. Well, we can't really do anything about that one. So let's do one more. But sometime later, Mr. Takayama does actually contact me. Earlier today, I watched Reiko punt a stray dog like a football. Was it a chihuahua? My Reiko always loved dogs. She treasured the memories of the Shiba Inu she lost when she was 16. I was almost jealous of that long-dead dog. There's no way a dog lover like Reiko would ever do that. Whatever that thing is, it's not my Reiko. I can see that now. If anything, I feel that her memory is being tarnished. I'm sorry for being so indecisive with you guys, but please, will you set her free? My mind is made up. I feel Takayama's desperation resolve. This monster seems like a pretty tough entity. We better go well prepared. Just in case. Oh, we can't really do anything right now. I guess we'll have to go for that ghost next time. Today is the deadline that Kurokami-sama set for us. It's time for another feast. Knowing that her curse will kill me unless I visit her, I head over to the ruined building where she dwells.
晩餐の日を楽しみに待っていたぞ。我ながら可愛いものだ。
I think she didn't have the horns before.
さあ、食材を料理に仕上げていくぞ。
And so, our repertoire of monster meals lines the dining room. Technically, we had another one.
宴だ。人間式にのっとってこう言ってやる。いただいてやろう。
Split-mouthed woman's yogurt.
まずはヨーグルトからか。ほう、口裂け女の好物か。ドロドロではなくプルプルしてさっぱり食べられる。爽やかでほんのりとした甘み、良いではないか。川で採れた怪異の刺身か。人を引っ張り込むだけあってコリコリと弾力を感じる力強い刺身だ。味はあっさりとしていて醤油や酢味噌と合うな。デザートはこの飴玉か。白くて小さい飴だが数は多いな。甘すぎずさっぱりしていて良いな。何個でも食える。 そうだったぞ。体に力が灯っていく。晩餐はこれからも続く。また呼び出すからな。
Kurokami-sama strikes an amused smile. Well, that's another feast done, and somehow I'm still alive and kicking. I go back to my room and sleep like a log. Speaking of dogs. Next, I get a summoning from Kurokami-sama while relaxing in my room. I'm used to these kinds of things, so I gather up the gang and we make our way to her dwelling.
時間も経ち、出現する怪異も様変わりしたようだ。くまなく回って、私のために怪異の食材を集めてこい。舌がとろけるやつがいいぞ。ある程度数を集めてこなければ、お前の舌がとろける。物理的にな。
Kurokami-sama strikes a wicked smile. We get into Suzume's car and leave the ruined building. And we're off on another monster hunt. There's something following behind us. But how can that be? We're on the move in Shizume's car. Suddenly, the woman tailoring us begins whispering. Oh. What's even that supposed to mean? Heads up, everyone, we've got a monster. Unable to get the thing's eerie voice out of my head, I have a hard time focusing on my spiritual energy.
怪異！あ、本当だ。なんか背の高い白いのがぼんやり見える。でも声なんて聞こえないわよ。
I do though. She's going po 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 over and over again.
どうまれ。それは八尺様だ。すごいのが来たぞ。ある意味黒神様より全然メジャーだ。お前は八尺様に見入られたんだ。
あいつ飛ばしてる車に悠々追いついてきてる。
Bad news, guys. I can't use Kurokami-sama's power. Nisuki, stay in the car. You can't take this one head on.
俺たちにちょっかいを出すとはうっかり八尺様め。誰がケツ持ちだか分かっているのか。おい、次の角で曲がってまた廃屋に行くぞ。
Putting his top-notch driving skills to the test, Shizume does just that.
それでここに逃げ込んできたのか。情けないやつらめ。
Kurokami-sama tugs at my cheek.
しかし怪異はここに入ってこられまい。私が出られないのだからな。
You're right. I can't actually see Hashaku-sama anymore, nor can I hear her voice. Kurokami-sama plucks out a single strand of her hair as it coils around my body.
これで八尺様に寝込みを襲われることはあるまい。活動に支障は出ないだろう。
Wow, really?
ただしお前が招いてしまってはダメだ。お前が招いたら八尺様はお前を連れ去るぞ。
Alright, I guess we're in the clear.
と思うか。だが根本的解決にはなってない。 お前は見入られたままだ。
What?
お前自身で対処することだな。何？私が選んだ人材だ。なんとかできるだろうさ。相当に強い怪異だ。私の手を使わずに勝てると思うなよ。黒神様に見入られたのが、今度は八尺様に見入られたのか。笑えるな。次は何様にちょっかいをかけられることやら。
Kurokami-sama maintains an amused smile for the rest of our meeting. We're on our way back from Kurokami-sama's dwelling.
どうしたんだヒキ。その呼吸は。
瞬間の爆発力を高める訓練よ。数日戦えなくなる代償として一瞬だけ大きな力を引き出す。そんな感じ。
すごいな。パワーのコントロールか。
怪異同士の戦いなんて一撃必殺の世界だからね。こんなことができるなんて、私に混じってる怪異はよほど大物なのね。
対黒神様に備えてか。
Way to go, Inosuke.
まあねまあね。会長の方はどんな感じ？黒神様の正体とか封印方法とか。
少しずつ絞り込めてきたと思っている。前まで黒神様を封じたのは徳の高い坊さんと思っていたが。
違うの？
拝み屋かもしれない。いずれにせよもう少し時間はかかるな。
まずは食材集めか。
You can now freely use your spiritual energy. I can use Kurokami-sama's arm again, which is all well and good, but that Hashaku-sama, I gotta do something about her. The hidden beach I discovered the other day should be far enough from prying eyes. It might just be the perfect location to settle this. Our next hunt for ingredients sure is off to a wild start. So, this is Shonen. The dark energies I'm sensing here are quite formidable, indeed. Alright, so that's where we're gonna leave it. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!